Good day, we are learners team number 8 here to present our case analysis of John's story. To summarize, John's life is eventful with regard to both academics and being a philanthropist, though that does not mean his life is perfect. He lost his mother when he was a third year high school student, and on top of that, he is carrying the weight of his father's expectations, thus his continuous pursuit of trying to win at math competitions. His social life is fortunately healthy as he had friends who are willing to celebrate his winnings after his most recent contest. Yet he has feelings that he is unsure of sharing due to the possible consequences. As for his winnings, he was never able to bring them home as he gave them away as a donation for a girl suffering from leukemia, the same condition that ended up killing his mother. Additionally, he lied to his father regarding to the outcome of his contest in order to protect the truth regarding the donation. Considering this, our group would like to explain and evaluate his behavior based on various areas of perspectives. From an anthropological perspective, John's father, who came from a traditional Filipino Chinese family, treated John the way his parents treated him, with high expectations and pressure. This explains John's behavior of being distant and detached from his father. Additionally, John was not open with his family about his sexuality since he knew that this was unacceptable to his family due to their traditions.
John is a very bright person. He behaved in a way that is prim and proper, to the point that it feels like someone is dictating on him. Nonetheless, the kindness in his heart can be felt. However, there are some social standards that restrict him to be happy. Some social standards that caused him to hide his true identity.
Looking at John's behavior from the perspective of psychology, I would like to focus on the following facts of the case. First, his father had high expectations and gets disappointed whenever he only wins second place in competitions. Despite this knowledge, however, he chose to donate his monetary prize and lie to his father instead. The reason for this behavior was not disclosed in the case, but several factors may affect his decision. For starters, he was under the influence of alcohol, and although not completely unaware of his acts, he's still slightly disinhibited. His relationship with his father may also trigger rebellious behavior, especially considering his disinhibition. We cannot also dismiss the fact that he might be trying to impress his crush who saw what he did at the time. Another factor is that he probably felt sympathetic to Anna, the beneficiary of his donation who is diagnosed with leukemia, the same disease that her mother had before passing away. In the next parts of this video, we will further evaluate John's action and behaviors through the lens of psychology and other perspectives.
John behaved in a way that shows that he is an educated individual who is equipped with the power of reason, curiosity, and critical thinking, which allows him to deter irrational thoughts, emotions, and actions. Such a behavior shares attributes with the Western philosophy. This is observed when he considers the consequences of sharing his own feelings that may change the way how people see him, the dynamic of his friendships, or be put in an undesirable situation like being sent off to military school.
From an Eastern point of view, John's actions are clearly selfless. He helped someone he'd never met by giving her the money he'd won in a competition. Despite the fact that he was well aware of the immense pressure his father imposed because Anna is facing a more dire situation, he decided to assist her instead.
John is a generous and kind-hearted person because of his actions such as doing community service and volunteer work. One factor that may explain his kind actions is due to religion being one of the subjects that he loves, which led him to become a good Christian. Also, his mother, whom he was very close with, died of leukemia. Thus, he immediately took action after learning that someone else had the same condition as his mother.
John's action is exceptionally admirable. He studied and at the same time, he balanced things and tries to enjoy life. It felt like John was the type of person who goes with the flow of society, and at the same time, his foundation and belief were always present. John's action is very empowering, like how he joins Koska a school organization that helps a community who are in need, and how he donated his prize to a girl who has leukemia.
Viewing John's actions and behavior through the lens of psychology, we can say that John is completely accountable for all of his actions, regardless of the intention behind them. While there are external influences that may have led him to do the things that he has done, under the idea of human agency, he remains an active agent in his life and his decisions. In this lens, we see John as more than just a product of his life events, but is actually an active influencer to his very own function, environment, and circumstances. Another psychological idea that we may use to evaluate his actions and support the previous suggestion of accountability is the idea of self-concept under the personality theory of Carl Rogers. In this case, we can infer that John has a strong sense of self-concept. He is aware of his strengths, preferences, hobbies, and even the reason behind each of them. He is also not oblivious to his feelings, may it be towards his family pertaining to his relationship with his father, or towards his friends pertaining to his special feelings for Julian and his other female friend. And even though he internally denies one of these emotions, he still knows of it. This is a proof that John is not simply an active agent in his life, but he also has the awareness of it.
John's decision of giving away his prize money without the consultation of his friends may seem impulsive, thus contradictory to the Western philosophical perspective of being logical. But consider that this philosophy includes the understanding of oneself with the inclusion of self-contentment. In general, he has a justified reason for making that decision. Consider his background of being empathetic by attending community service, doing volunteer work, and maintaining a good relationship with his family. His logical thinking would then lead towards making the logically good decisions, and that is providing to those whose needs are more than his.
John was in harmony with the surrounding he's living. According to the facts of the case, he devotes his time to helping the city's less fortunate residents through volunteer work. Through a series of interactions between his values and his surroundings, he has constructed a space based on wholeness.
Being intelligent, responsible, and kind, John already has all the tools he needs in order to achieve happiness. However, for him to fully flourish, he must build a better relationship with his father, whom he has been distant from because of the way he is treated. Additionally, he must find people or societal groups to whom he can relate and who will accept him for who he is as an individual.
I think John is doing pretty well. However, for him to achieve happiness, he should somehow prioritize himself. Being true to oneself can have an excellent result. After all, everyone deserves to love and to be loved.
I think one way for John to be happy is if he'll free himself from the expectations of his father and the outdated ideals of his family. This does not mean, however, that he should rebel or disrespect them. Rather, he may start by simply accepting who he truly is. For one, he may acknowledge his feelings even though he thinks that it is socially unacceptable. He may also try to communicate with his father about his feelings, especially towards the pressure that he is giving him. This may help improve his relationship with his father, which is one of his major concerns and the root of most of the other problems that he is facing. If this doesn't work, he may focus on strengthening his self-concept and knowing that despite the harsh criticisms, he is enough.
In a philosophical perspective, John has already figured out how to achieve a semblance of happiness. And that is by not chasing after his father's validation in exchange of doing good for others. He knew that another girl like his mother was suffering from leukemia and was in more need than him. So in a way, he made the personal decision to help even though that means he wouldn't get his father's approval. Being content with that decision, even after knowing you were barely drunk that night, embodies Western philosophy.
John has always had a lot of responsibility placed on his shoulders, both in terms of caring for his family and his academics. He should probably continue to practice the virtue of generosity by engaging in charitable endeavors because, in my opinion, doing so is what truly brings him the most joy and vitality.